Hello everyone, it is Dani'i and welcome to this update video this afternoon. So, major hurricane Beryl. Beryl is officially a major hurricane. It was designated as such earlier this morning, and now it is en route to the Windward Islands of the Lesser Antilles. We've got so many hurricane warnings in place: Barbados, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, the Grenadines, Grenada, and Tobago, and now Trinidad is under a tropical storm watch, which makes sense because Beryl is going to be very close and probably close enough to induce tropical storm-like conditions, periods of heavy rain, those tropical storm force winds going over 39 miles per hour. So it does make sense that they have it under a tropical storm watch. So tropical storm conditions are possible. Then there is that tropical storm watch also in effect for Dominica, and a tropical storm warning that is in effect where tropical storm conditions are not possible but rather expected for the island of Martinique. So that is what we have going on. Let's talk about the updates. So as of 11 a.m., we have this updated graphic here from the National Hurricane Center, the cone forecast, and we can see that Beryl is sustaining winds of 120 miles per hour. So the hurricane hunters, they're inside the hurricane right now, assessing it so that we get the most accurate details regarding its structure and the intensity as well. So Beryl is a Category 3 hurricane headed on to Cat.4 intensity. And earlier this morning, the peak intensity that NHC was expecting was 130 miles per hour. In this next update this morning, it is at 140 miles per hour. Those are the peak winds expected. And of course, gusts could be even higher. If the storm does attain those sustained winds, hurricane gusts could be as high as 160 miles per hour. That would be gusting up to Category 5 intensity. So the islands under hurricane warning, the aforementioned islands, those marked in red you're seeing here on your screen, are the ones that will be feeling the worst of Beryl as we head into tomorrow. Really, a very quick pause right here. So in the midst of me actually editing this video to post, there was an update statement released that Beryl is now a Category 4 hurricane with winds of 130 miles per hour. Those are the sustained winds. So throughout the video, you'll continually hear me say 120, but I just want to let you know that, hey, it is a Category 4 hurricane right now. Things are definitely escalating, but let's get back to the update. So, preparations have to be finalized today. Today is the last day to get things in place to prepare to ride out the storm. There are some mandatory evacuations for some areas. Please listen to your local officials because this is not something to joke around with. This is not a Cat 1 hurricane. This is not a tropical storm. This is a record-breaking major hurricane here in the last day of June that is going to be making its way into the Southeast Caribbean. Now, it's going to be intensifying more because conditions are favorable. Let's take a look at them. So we're looking at the dry air map right here, and we can see that the more vibrant colors of oranges and reds and yellows, they're around. They're pretty much plentiful right now out there, but within the vicinity of Beryl doesn't have that much of a struggle, and it won't have that much of a struggle for now. And then as we take a look at the sea surface temperature anomaly, so this is the anomaly, how much it is varying. So those white spots indicate that temperatures are pretty much normal. The blue areas indicate below normal temperatures, and then the oranges, the yellows indicate above average temperatures. We can see that temperatures are above average for the most part, and so waters are very warm as they would be in August, September, and that is the kind of activity we're seeing now in the month of June. So we can imagine what is going to be down the road for the next couple of months as we eventually head to the peak of the hurricane season. But for now, the storm surge is going to be a huge problem. The heavy rain, which will likely cause flooding, up to isolated 10 inches of rain across parts of the Windward Islands, especially the Grenadines, where the center of Beryl is going to be passing through tomorrow. So it is going to get pretty nasty there. It is the calm before the storm. There's not much happening around. So Beryl is just taking advantage of its favorable environment and churning. It is not going to be looking good. I hope that everyone is preparing for this major unprecedented hurricane. And then as it is going to be heading through the Caribbean, once it moves in, it is going to level off on intensity. So again, the peak intensity expected is 140 miles per hour in wind speeds. And it is going to be encountering some wind shear, those upper level winds, which will allow for it to eventually gradually weaken. But it could still be a major hurricane near Jamaica. And this is as we're going to be heading into, let's take a look here. So as we're going to be heading into later this week, going to around Wednesday. That is likely to be the time when it's going to be closest to Jamaica. So we could see some watches, maybe some warnings being issued. I would expect a hurricane watch to be issued very soon once the system is going to be making this very close approach to the island. And some of the models actually have it moving over the island, and that will all be dependent on many things. So should it maintain a strong intensity long enough, like well over 130 miles per hour, around that, then we could have it coming closer to the island, because stronger hurricanes tend to want to move more to the north. But when they get weaker, they're more under the influence of the high pressures around, which are essentially steering them on a generally westward track. So once Beryl strengthens some more and tries to hold on to that intensity, the storm actually has a shot of being much closer to Jamaica as than what is forecast here. And I mean, some of the models do take it extremely close, just grazing the island, the center of it just passing very close, but nonetheless inducing those very dangerous impacts later this week. So that is a definite possibility that we should not ignore whatsoever. What will Beryl do thereafter? So the story doesn't end there. It is likely to head maybe to the vicinity of the Yucatan as a hurricane, still holding on to that hurricane intensity. But there isn't a whole lot of agreement in regards to what will exactly happen, because we're talking about around 5 days out from now. So we're bound to see some changes within this time period. And overall, if you're in the Yucatan, if you're in Belize, you want to keep a watch for the next couple of days. It's not a full guarantee that, yes, you are going to be hit. Your area will be hit. However, it is an area of potential impacts. And notice how the cone widens as well. That is because more areas, it could go off in any direction within this general area right here. It could go generally west. It can start to move to the west, northwest, northwest, go up to the north. Who knows? There are so many odds that are out there right now for the long term. But for the short term, the immediate concern is for the windward islands. Beryl is not a joke. This is a major Category 3 hurricane that is about to become a Cat.4 monster and pound these islands. And it will likely be the strongest hurricane to move through the windward islands since Ivan of 2004, almost 20 years ago. And here we are with an Ivan-like storm in our hands. So I mean, I really hope that you guys have your preparations going. Remember to check on your neighbors, check on your loved one, check on your pets. Please keep the pets safe, guys. Please, the puppies, the kittens. If you have any other animals, please ensure that you keep them safe as best as you can. Because, we love our animals and we don't want them in harm's way, just as we don't want ourselves in harm's way either. But looking at the satellite, Beryl is looking quite healthy. It has been intensifying. It has been rapidly intensifying. It's looking so good. It's looking so symmetrical, and it could even grow in size as it is going to be entering the Caribbean. So we have a ways to go with this major hurricane, and the story doesn't end there, as we have another disturbance given that high chance to develop. So that is not going to be an immediate concern, but it will eventually be something that we'll have to talk about, because many of the areas that will be impacted by Beryl will also face impacts from that next system later down in the week, which I'll be talking more and more about. And as I mentioned, if you saw my updates video earlier this morning, it could become a tropical depression by the middle of the week, and maybe a tropical storm thereafter. Who knows? And it could move into that same general area that Beryl is headed right now. And then there's also that next area to watch in the Gulf. That one is not in red, it's in orange, and it has a chance of development before it moves in. Either way, it is a rainmaker for the region. But nonetheless, the focus is Beryl. The talk of the town right now is Beryl, and this is only the start of what is expected to be a supercharged hurricane season. That's one of the terms used by forecasters to describe the kind of activity to expect. And the mere fact that we have such a strong hurricane heading in from the main development region in the month of June is just mind-blowing, to say the least. It is something that many of us, we didn't really see coming per se, but there's a first time for everything, really, and Beryl is a proof of that. So guys, please continue to stay safe, continue to be updated, which I'll continue to keep you posted on what is going on with this major hurricane. So that is what I wanted to share with you. And I really do hope that, you enjoy the rest of your day, even though you may have some preparations going. If you are in the Windward Islands right now, if you're under a watch, if you're under a warning, please be safe. Do not take any unnecessary risks. Again, there is little sand left in the hourglass to finalize those preparations ahead of this major hurricane that will be moving through. So if you have any questions, though, please leave them in the comments below, and I'll try to get to you once I can. It may be a bit delayed because I have a lot of things going on myself. And so yeah, thank you so much for watching this video, and remember to always be weatherwise.